What's up guys, Ryan here from Mud Gunner, and today I just wanted to talk about some 308 rifles that I have and just 308 in general, like what are my thoughts on it. So let's get into it. So 308, if you're unfamiliar, is a pretty big round. I have it compared here next to 5.56, and 5.56 is about 55 grains or 62 grains depending, and I mean there's bigger ones too, but 55 is the most common, and in 308 about 150 or 149 grain is the most common. But you'll notice it's a much bigger round, boxes of ammo. You're going to notice the difference in a lot of different ways, including the size of the gun that you might be getting. So I do like 308, I've shot it a lot, but I would say my experience is kind of limited with its full potential. So what I mean by that is my main 308 right now is a Scar 17. I've had this gun, I either bought it in 2016, 2017, but I've had it for years. I haven't really pushed it to its fullest potential as far as distance goes. So most of the ranges that I go to are about 300 yards or less. I also don't have the means to get myself into places where I can shoot 1,000 yards plus. So yeah, that's kind of limited my experience with the full potential of it. But I have gotten some longer range guns here that are capable of probably 1,000 plus yard shots. So at some point I would like to be able to do that for you guys on this channel. I'm just not there yet, but I am working on it. So the Scar 17 here was my very first 308, and well, it may have been tied with this. But this was also one of my early ones. This is a Sig 716 Precision, so it's kind of like Sig's version of the HK 417. They look very similar, and yeah, they're both piston-driven rifles, but I do really like this gun. I've had it for years, but I have very limited experience with, the full distance capabilities of it. For a while, I used to shoot at a local range here, where it goes to 300 yards, but this gun at 300 yards is about as much fun as 5.56 is at 25 yards, if that makes sense. Like, it's child's play for this gun. It's very simple. The first scope I ever ran on here was a Vortex Viper PST. It was the 4-16x50. I have since upgraded to the Night Force 5-20x56. This is the SHV. I'm not super familiar with all the big scopes and the differences between them, because again, my long range is limited. But I do want to get into it, and I do really enjoy having like these guns. Furthest I've shot this so far is 600 yards. That was actually a couple months ago, but I wasn't very accurate at 600 yards because I need to learn the adjustments better. But that is, again, I'm going to be learning this at some point for you guys. I'm working on getting a vehicle that can get me out to those further to shoot places. But yeah, again, I just wanted to talk about some 308s we have here. So again, this is a Sig 716. This is a Gen 1 Precision. So the new 716s are mostly DI guns. I don't know if they still do the piston-driven guns. I really like the piston-driven setup here. It's an 18-inch barrel. We got the quad rail. From the factory, it came with a Harris bipod. It came with a Geisley trigger, the Magpul PRS stock. And then again, I was running a Vortex Viper on there at one point, but now I have a Night Force SHV. I did have iron sights on here, but I took them off. And besides that, oh, we got a Magpul grip right here, just because it's kind of nice to have something to hold on to. You wouldn't really freehand shoot this. I mean, you can, but the way it's set up, this is mainly a bench rifle. And then suppressor-wise, I actually did buy a suppressor for it. So I don't have it yet, but I bought it, and it's an OSS Helix QD, and it is an actual OSS. It's not the Huxworks can. So pre-Huxworks, the OSS Helix QD is a flow-through can. It will be my first flow-through can, so I'm pretty excited for that. Again, we're gonna run it on here. Right now the muzzle brakes are kind of hard to source, so I need to find a muzzle brake for it, and I want to order it directly from my distributors at the store that I work at versus just paying full price online. So I'm kind of patient, I'll wait for that. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a fairly heavy setup, but I don't mind, because again, it is a bench gun, but this will be pretty sick with a flow-through can on there, and I'm excited to shoot it with that. And we're rocking a waffle pattern Armalite style mag, but this came with the SR25 here. So while we're on the subject of AR-10s, let's go to this one. This is a Knights Armament SR25. If you guys have watched the channel, you may have saw when I got this back in November-ish. And this is a very sick rifle. I haven't shot it yet because I'm actually waiting on the suppressor for this. I papered the suppressor back in November. But what we have here is basically a Gen 1 SR25 made in 1993, and I'm waiting on the 16-inch suppressor that is over-the-barrel suppressor. It goes on here, so we screw this off, and then when we get the can on, it just screws right onto here. And yeah, 16-inch suppressor, also made in 1993. I papered it back in November, so I'm just waiting on it, but the days can't go by fast enough for that thing. I'm so excited for it. It's a very rare suppressor and setup in general, but yeah, it'll just screw on here, and this thing will be extremely long. So, I mean, I think it's gonna stick out to like right here suppressed, which is crazy. Yeah, I haven't shot this gun yet. I've kind of been waiting. I bought it and it had the rail, it had the stock, but it didn't have anything else on there. So I have a Knights Armament bipod adapter and then a Harris bipod on here. And then it came with the PRS stock and this monopod, and it came with the URX rail. I have the original handguard for it as well. It was like a carbon fiber cylinder handguard. It would have also had an A2 stock, but I don't have that. And then I actually sourced this Leopold Mark IV for it back in, it was either December or February at the gun show. But yeah, this is a Leopold Mark IV, 8.5 to 25 by 50. It's a first focal plane, and it's on a LaRue, forget what mount, SPR 1.5 mount. And we also have a Knights Armament bubble level right here. But again, I haven't shot it yet. It looks very sick. This scope may not stay on there. And my only reasoning for that is this scope was made in 2011. I'd actually like to find an older scope for it. Maybe that was made in 1993, because you can look up Leopold serial numbers pretty easily. So if I find an old Leopold scope, I might put that on here. That would have been like a 3.5 to 10 or a fixed 10 power, but this is obviously going to be the nicer version because you got a lot more magnification. But I also don't know how much I'm going to shoot this gun because it is kind of a collector piece at this point. I mean, this is like, once this is fully set up, it's going to be like a museum grade gun. So yeah, I don't know. I still want to shoot it, but I think what I'd like to do is get a more modern Knights Armament SR25 and just run that, because then I won't be as hurt if I like damage it over time shooting it. Because I mean, with shooting guns, you are going to wear them out, and I know they're tools, but that's kind of like putting a lot of miles on like a vintage, you know, classic car. So it's the same concept with guns, if you don't know that. But yeah, this is a pretty rare find, especially with the suppressor. You can find these guns, but you can't find the suppressor. It's unobtainium. I've never seen one for sale. This was just kind of a unique experience and opportunity for me. So yeah, I'm very excited for that. But again, we've been waiting since November. But any day now I might get a call on that, and then yeah, we'll get this thing suppressed. I will shoot this on the channel for you guys. I just don't know exactly how many rounds we'll put through it. But yeah, SR25, it's a beautiful gun, and then it has it came with 2 of these waffle pattern mags plus standard Knights Armament SR25 mags. But these look really good in the gun, and it's just a really beautiful gun. I can't wait to get the suppressor for it, and we'll actually put this right here. Actually, no, we'll leave it up. On a side note, because I was thinking about this monopod and the bipod. So when people come into the store all the time, they ask for tripods. And for the longest time, I'm like, no, we don't really have tripods here. But then I realized they're talking about bipods. So while we have these out, we're going to talk about the differences. So you have monopod, which is just 1 leg. You have bipods, which is 2 legs. And then you have tripods, which is 3 legs. And there's big tripods for shooting. But in case you didn't know the difference, that's the difference. Monopod is 1, bipod is 2, and tripod is 3. So, teach you guys something that I learned in school. But not everyone knows that, so yeah. And then the main 308 that I run and gun is definitely this one. This is the FN Scar 17, also an iconic gun. I've had this one, again, since like 2016, 2017. I've put a lot of rounds to it, definitely more than any 308 that I have. And I have some other 308s too, but these are kind of the main ones. But yeah. This is a beautiful gun. It's a 16-inch barrel. I've been running this ACOG on it since I got it. This is a TA11 horseshoe green reticle, 3.5 by 35 power. So low magnification, but it's set up as kind of like a battle rifle. And then sometime last year, or maybe 2 years ago, I put this Trijicon RMR on here. And it's pretty nice. So you can have a magnified optic, or you just turn it and you have a red dot. And then we have a Mod Light Hog. So this is like a 700 lumen light, but it's got like 160 or 170,000 candela. So it's got some major throw on there. It's running from a Surefire pressure pad here. I have a Gen 1 KDG MREX rail. Extended rail for me was a must on this gun just because I didn't like the pencil barrel kind of sticking out of it. And then also have a Harris bipod. They're one of the go-to bipods, especially for 308s and military style rifles in general. They're on everything. So Harris bipod, we have a Tango Down M-Lock grip. I have a Viking Tactics sling on this one. Geisley trigger in here. Again, that one came with a Geisley trigger. The Knights triggers are just nice in their own realm, but if you don't have a nice trigger, Geisley is the way to go. And then we have a Silencer Co. ASR muzzle brake on here because I do run this suppressed with a Omega 300. this was my very first suppressor, and it's a great suppressor, works good, but the number one thing with scars is they're kind of higher back pressure suppressed, and that's why FN like voids your warranty when you suppress them, because yeah, it just beats the gun to death. But I haven't had any issues. All my screws are still really clean on there. The only issue I ever had was, I think it was this screw right here. It backed off while I was shooting. It didn't like shear out or like bore open the threads. So I just got a replacement screw and it works fine. But what I'd also like to do with this is get a flow through can. So I'm thinking the OSS, or not even OSS, the Huxworks Flow 762 in Flat Dark Earth would look really good on here. I'm getting the OSS for that one, but yeah, I think that's the plan for this. And yeah, it runs good. I don't beat the gun to death, so I'll run a lot of rounds through there, but I think the ones that really get destroyed from running suppressed is machine guns, or if you're just mag dumping, or just the more rounds you put through it suppressed, the more you're gonna potentially ruin your rear receiver. So I'm kind of cautious with that, but again, I have no issues with that. And I've had this for a long time, and I fired thousands of rounds through there. Not like 10,000 plus, but maybe like a couple thousand, a few thousand. And yeah, it's been a great rifle. I love it. And yeah, as far as 308 goes, again, it's a fun round. It's a beefy round. It's a heavy hitter. I think it's, in a lot of ways, it is cooler than a 5.56. Does it replace 5.56? No, not at all. But it is a sweet gun. And I'm actually going to be running this gun, most likely this gun, in a match here in July. So Independence Training out here in Arizona, they do a yearly match called IDARM. And I thought it'd be cool to run heavy division with this. So we'll see how well that goes. And yeah, I mean, 308 wise, I want to get into long range, but I'm more of like a short range kind of guy, like within 100 yards. I like running short setups, but I'll get into the long range more. And then also barrel length wise, we have a 16, we have an 18, we have a 24 inch. I am currently waiting on another tax stamp for something I mentioned it briefly, but we have an SBR 308 coming to the channel here soon. So you guys can think about that, what we're getting, but we do have an SBR 308 coming, and then there's a couple other 308s I want to get in different barrel lengths. I want to get an M1A in a 22-inch barrel. It's just an iconic gun too. So I got an FAL. I don't know what barrel length that one is though, off the top of my head. I think it's a 21-inch barrel. And yeah, I think at some point I'd like to get just a standard lightweight AR-10, like a 16-inch barrel. But I've never wanted to like fully, because I mean, this thing, in my opinion, is going to be better than anything I buy, or I'll have to dump a lot of money to make it compete with this. So I do like AR-10s, but I'm kind of biased towards the SCAR, and I'll always choose the SCAR 17 over a standard AR-10. But I do like them. As far as like what sells well at our store, for the money, for like $1,000 to maybe $1,500-ish, you have the Ruger SFAR, and then you have the Springfield Saint. Those seem like decent 308 starting options. I haven't shot either of them, but we get them in. Someone told me that FN is trying to sue Ruger over the SFAR name because it's too close to SCAR. If that's true, that's kind of dumb in my opinion. FN, you're like in your own boat, but I don't know if that's true. I don't want to spread rumors. This is probably me spreading rumors. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed, and if you have any questions regarding 308s, I can maybe help you out a little bit. But again, my knowledge is not very great on long range shooting. So I want to get into it and I want to learn more, and then as I do, I'll share with you guys on the channel. So thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for my next video.